Okay, so today we're going to dive into this really incredible piece of folklore. It's all about the poorest family you can imagine, some seriously hungry gods, and a gift that was harder than stone.
So, what we're looking at here is a story that really pits this deep, profound poverty against an absolutely unshakable faith. And it all happens on one of the most important nights of the year. It's really a story about what happens when sincerity is the only thing you have left to give.
All right, so to really get this story, you first have to understand the setting. It all happens during the YF Festival. Now, you can think of this as this huge end-of-year blowout, a time for gratitude, for massive feasts, and for honoring the gods for all the good stuff that happened that year.
But here's the thing. In this particular place, Qingxi Town, the festival wasn't a party for everybody. In fact, it did the opposite. It threw this really harsh spotlight on the massive gap between two completely different worlds.
So you've got this incredible contrast, right? On one side of town, the air is just filled with the smell of amazing pork stew. You can hear firecrackers going off. It's a huge celebration. And then on the other side, you have the Sioux family's hut, where the only thing you hear is the wind howling and the sound of their own stomachs rumbling. Just cold silence. And right at the heart of this quiet, cold world is the father, Su. Now, this guy was known for having this super kind face and just being, well, almost too honest for his own good. I mean, the story goes that if a neighbor's roof was leaking, he'd go fix it for free, only to come home and find his own roof had been wrecked by the wind. So yeah, his incredible kindness just wasn't paying the bills.
So that brings up a pretty big question, right? When you have literally next to nothing, what can you possibly give the gods on the most important festival of the year?
Well, their entire offering, the whole shebang, was just 3 steamed buns. That's it. That's all they had. And it's what Suafu earned after a grueling night hauling goods for some rich merchant.
And get this, these weren't some fresh, fluffy buns either. Oh no. These were leftovers from his job, and they were so old and stale, they were literally as hard as rocks. I mean, they made a clattering sound when he put them on the table.
But here's what's absolutely amazing. Su-Afu's optimism is just completely off the charts. Even with this tiny, rock-hard offering, he jokes to his family, hey, the Earth God must have strong teeth. He truly, genuinely believed the gods would be happy with his gift, his faith, totally unshaken.
Which, really makes you wonder, with an offering this humble, especially compared to the giant feasts happening just down the street, was anyone in the heavens even listening? Oh, the answer is a big, fat yes. They were definitely listening. But their reaction wasn't what you might expect, because it wasn't really about the buns. See, there was basically a divine committee meeting happening right there in the hut. Hiding out behind that old wooden statue, you had 3 deities. First up, you've got the Earth God himself, and he is grumpy. He's complaining that the spiritual energy from these buns is so weak it's getting stuck in his teeth. Then you've got the family's house spirit, who's just sighing, saying he hasn't seen a single drop of cooking oil all year. And rounding out the group is the Earth God's wife, and, well, she's clearly the brains of the operation.
Yeah, the Earth Goddess just cuts right through all the complaining. She basically says, you guys are missing the point. It's about sincerity. She argues that the pure, honest heart behind this offering is worth way more than the smoke coming from the rich merchant's feast next door, which to her just stinks of greed.
And this little debate leads them to a huge conclusion. They realize the Sioux family's problem isn't a lack of virtue, and it's not bad luck or fate. No, their good fortune is being actively blocked. It's being siphoned off and stolen by all the dishonest, corrupt merchants in town. So once they figure this out, that this truly good and honest man is basically being cheated, they decide they have to do something. And they cook up let's call it a very creative plan to set things right. So the Earth God, who suddenly had a change of heart thanks to his wife, comes up with this brilliant, sneaky idea. He says, look, what if we, accidentally found some of that hidden stolen money, and then we accidentally guided our good man Afu to find it? That's not really against the rules, is it? And his wife is all for it. She even gives it a fancy name, Celestial Wealth Management. It's a perfect 4-step plan. File your reports, accidentally find some dirty money, guide the right guy to it, and boom, you've just redirected wealth from the greedy to the deserving. It's basically a divine intervention designed to look like a stroke of good luck. And right as they put this plan into action, something real, something tangible starts to happen. While the family's all asleep, huddled together trying to stay warm, a soft golden light starts glowing from that old wooden statue. It's like a tiny seed of hope finally being planted in the middle of this cold, dark night.
So this whole story leaves us with a pretty powerful question to think about, doesn't it? In a world that is so often all about money and big, flashy displays, what's the real value of a sincere heart? You know, when sincerity is all you have, is that actually enough? Maybe, just maybe, it's the smallest, most humble offerings that end up making the biggest difference of all.